Hello and good morning. This is Andy McCann, your host here, where I'm trying to help you lay a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finance. And today we're finally going back over finances. So I think the title of this one should be Smart Money Habits for Regular People. So I don't feel like I'm anyone special, but I do consume a lot of information. I listen to a bunch of podcasts and a lot of books. They say that if you listen to like 5 books or read 5 books, you become an expert on a subject. If that's true, I'm an expert on many things. Typically what I do is find advice that makes sense and is repeated across multiple speakers, and I follow that advice. So I'm going to give you some of what I've done, but more than just, hey, this is me, I'm going to tell you what my 3 primary people I listen to, what they do. It's Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, and Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey is not necessarily money, but I don't think if you have the principles down, then you'll do it. Now, I'm going to say that probably the biggest change in my life was following a biblical principle, so I should probably put the Bible in here somewhere. And it's the idea of getting out of debt, pretty much, and giving, pretty much. I'm going to skip some of that because some of you guys are like no on like religious, and that's up to you, sure. My story, you'd have to be a believer and you have to walk that line. It doesn't really make much sense if you don't. But I can give you still the hard facts of things you can do. So it's not really tough. It's just basically don't be stupid. Make base hits and doubles and, do the regular smart things. The hard part is really overcoming your desire. It's so weird. The health and fitness world and the financial world have pretty much the same mottos and mantras and statements. You just switch calories for dollars or whatever, right? So like you can't out work out a bad diet. You also like can't out save low income, right? So there's like principles in here that makes sense. So compound interest, if you do it every day, it's going to help. If you invest every day, it's going to help. If you work out every day, it's going to help. If you eat correctly every day, it's going to help, right? So these things build on each other. Anyway, I'm going to go through that. I'm going to show you a little bit of my story. I'm going to talk about these 3 guys, and we'll go through other key concepts. What I want you to know is that if you are like me and you're in your 50s, it's not too late to accumulate wealth. If you're younger, it certainly helps if you have the right mindset. I'll say this. So if you're getting into the empty nest phase, most of your expenses, if you've done this right and you've raised your kids well, they just go off on their own. Those expenses go away and you're used to spending it. So don't go and spend that money. Instead, start saving that money. I would also say, I've got this later on, but I would go talk to Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker with Vincent Financial Planning down here in Woodstock, Georgia. They go all over the world or all over the U.S., but they're physically located here. They're members at the gym. And their big thing is planning, investing, and preserving. So if your financial solution is unique, your financial plan should also be, right? It's a big thing for retirement. Anyway, so we'll go into all that stuff. No, I am not an investment banker. No, I have no real tricks. I just take the information that these other guys have put out there. No, you shouldn't listen to me. Everybody's situation is different. I'm not giving you advice to go and like follow what I did. I'm just telling you what I did. And some of the principles that I've pulled out, use it as you see fit. So I hate it when they're like, hey, if you do a podcast or a video, you got to put in this disclaimer that it's not financial advice and you're not SEC or whatever. I don't know what all that stuff is. I also don't think you guys are retards. You guys are pretty smart. You'll figure it out. Everyone's journey is different. Do not do exactly what I did. Now, the principles make sense, and so we're going to go through some of those principles. I don't think I'm going to tell you anything specific besides maybe Bitcoin and rental property that I put money in. Should you do that? Man, I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. But, all right, here we go. It is unfortunate, as I took my little coffee break here, my coffee has like a hint of maybe like soap. It's irritating. Is it really soap? Is it my cup? Is it the coffee? That's going to bother me this whole time. But at least it's warm and it's coating the throat. All right, I'm going to give you a quickie on my financial story. So my parents did not have much money. They weren't anything special, just the normal folks. My dad was a mechanical engineer that went into technical sales. My mother is a lawyer, but she got her law degree like way late in life. She was a teacher before that. My stepmother is an electrical engineer from Georgia Tech and still works in the wastewater treatment facility in the control board. So nothing fancy, just good stable jobs for the most part that make pretty decent money. So my dad, being in sales, was able to adjust his income dramatically based on how well he performed or what he did. So I followed that route because I was like, hey, that's interesting. I like technology, but I like solving problems. So technical sales was the way to go. Our big boost in life was my dad said, hey, the biggest lesson I can give you in sales is show up. Man, and I agree, guys. If you have a job, show up, do your work. Be timely, be on time. So early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. Show up. For your family, for your wife, for your kids, for your friends, show up. I always ask people when something goes down, hey, what can I do? How can I help? I'm not good with emotions, but I'm good with physical tasks. What can I do for you? Show up. Anyway, I was given the worst territories in the South, or in the whole bit, well, maybe not the entire company, but I had Louisiana and Mississippi, and they weren't really sold to all that well, and nobody really wanted to work with them. So it was Bell South I was primarily selling to, and in other independent telephone companies, and I did my job. I said, hey, you top earners, what did you do? They're like, hey, I showed up and I did these things. I'm like, great, let me take those things and replicate it. So I asked the people who had gone before, and I took the common advice and made it mine, and I just did that. So essentially, I was showing up a lot. So the bad part about a traveling sales job, which I didn't really think about, is when you try to start a family and you're traveling, that kind of sucks. So I was gone 4 or 5 days a week, and they do pay you well to do that. Back in, I mean, this is like late 90s. I was already making like $150,000 a year in the late 90s. So I think I looked it up one time. It'd be like $270 or something in today's money. So yeah, they pay you well. But if you did it by the hour, I mean, I was gone 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 4 days a week. So it really wasn't that much when you look at it like that. Because instead of working 40 hours a week, I was working, 40, so 120 hours a week. Anyway, my real big break was I showed up and I did my job. And my customers knew what they needed to order. They just needed budget for it. So what happened was our company's fiscal cycle closed April 1st, but Bell South's closed December 31st. So basically, we did not overlap correctly in our fiscal cycles. Anyway, at the end of their year, they spent all of their money. It's like, get it all done, because if you don't spend it, you won't get it back. And then in January, all the guys heard that, hey, they're going to start pulling your money away. I forgot why. Maybe it was Y2K or Y1K. I don't remember. History gets a little weird as you get older. I don't remember the exact what was going on, but it was somewhere in the 2000s. And they said, hey, they're going to pull their money back. You better spend now before they pull it back. So I got their budget, a lot of budget in December, and then a lot of budget, like all of it for the year, in January. And it was still my same budget cycle. So I went way over quota, something like 250% of quota. I thought, well, surely I'm the number one guy in the industry. And I wasn't. I wasn't even in the top 10. This one guy, T. Tamble, Eric T. Tamble, maybe? He was like 1,000% of quota, so he crushed it. Anyway, they sent me a check in the mail for something like, I don't know, $150,000, $200,000, and that was after taxes. It was huge. I'm like, what do I do with this? And I asked my dad, what do I do with this? And he's like, dude, I would put it in the stock market. And so Verity and I were reading the Bible and we were praying about it. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's pay our house off and see what happens from there, because it says get out of debt. And I was listening to Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki, and so I was like, sure, let's do that. So we did, and the economy tanked, and we had our house paid off, and it's been a huge blessing ever since to never have to have that burden of, I can't make mortgage, right? Yes, you still have to pay your taxes and all that, but I'm going to tell you, for me in my life, paying off all the debt we had back then in 2000 was huge. Maybe 2001, I don't know when it was. Anyway, back then. And it set us up for acceleration later on. So it was a good base hit. And yes, I know you could leverage it. That's Robert Kiyosaki's thing. But we didn't want to do that. I wanted to become more risk adverse and then make better plays going forward. So the richest people in the world loan money to buy houses. They're the banks. They own all the money, and they're like, hey, let's loan money to you guys. So if the richest people are giving us loans, then does it make sense we should either get out? I mean, it just doesn't make sense that we should always be in debt to somebody. So that was my thing. Go figure out your own path, but getting out of debt was huge. So eventually, I don't know if you guys know this, but they tax like bonuses and stuff at like 50%. So commissions and bonuses, it sucks. If you look at how much taxes we really pay, it's embarrassing. Okay, so do I expect you guys to be able to do that? Man, I don't know. If you go listen to Dave Ramsey, he has people come to his studio, I don't know if it's a radio studio, podcast studio, and he lets you get in front of the camera and say, hey, we paid off all this debt. If you go, actually, I should find that so you know where it is. Okay, I couldn't find it, but they've got a thing where you can come in and you can just talk about what you did to pay off debt. And I listened to those, and like the last couple, they were a young couple, maybe they were like 28. They paid off something like $900,000 of debt. I'm like, how do you even have that much debt? I don't know. It was insane. It was a massive number. I'm like, surely I don't think they fact check any of it. They're like, hey, you showed up and you said it, so we believe you. And it was an obscene amount of money. So maybe they were in their 30s. I don't know. I just remember thinking they're young, maybe 40s. But I'm 51, so anyone below like 48 is pretty young. Anyway, so another concept that I like to kind of throw at you is this idea of when you're taxed. So I was W-2, meaning W-2 is just an employee with a company, and they pay your extra Social Security tax, and then they pay unemployment tax, and there's other stuff. So when you're employed by somebody, there's all this other tax that goes into it. And what the government does is they say, hey, what's your W-2 earning? Let's just say it was $100,000. We're going to tax you on $100,000. You owe us, I don't know, $30,000. We're going to take that. And then you can spend $70,000. When you go the other way and you work for yourself, either have like a 1099 job or rental income or something like that, what they do instead, if you have a company for it, they say, hey, what's your total revenue? Let's just go ahead and say it was $100K. Then you get to spend, so let's say you spent that $70K, you have $30K left over. They tax you on the 30, so you're not paying 30 in taxes, you're paying a percentage of the 30, probably something like $15,000 in taxes. So it drops your tax burden down a lot because you're paying on the profit afterwards. So it's beneficial for all of you guys to do something, even if you do. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're in the gym, you could just be like, this is my personal brand and my journey of health and fitness. And then, I don't know, get on some sort of like my wife does these LifeWave patches. That could be your business. You're like, hey, I'm using my lifestyle to build a brand around these patches, and I buy patches and I sell patches or whatever, right? And the money could be super low, like, hey, I bought, I don't know, $30 in patches and I sold $10 in patches, whatever, right? It could be anything. But now you can expense a whole bunch of stuff and start writing off any of that particular income. Now, it doesn't affect your W-2 income, but for example, if you were, I don't know, you bought a new phone because you wanted to make more videos, your gym membership, you could expense that, right? So what happens there is, it acts like, I don't know, like 20% off. So instead of paying, let's just go with $200 for your membership, because I can't do math on smaller numbers, you would pay, 20% of that would be $40 off? Yeah, so it would be $160, right? So it just drops down your bills because you can add it into the tax burden. So it's a way to use the system that they created to protect yourself against unnecessary tax. So owning a gym, I don't know if, in retrospect, it has kept me healthy, so I would probably still do it. But as a business, man, it is not a great business. We're going to talk a little bit about that. There are other businesses you could do. I'm going to go through some of those that have very little capital upfront and very little time investment that the government would still count as a business, and you could do easily on your own. Now, you could like drill down and go in super tight, and that would be good. Like Verity is doing this LifeWave stuff, and she's maybe on year 2. And I do all the budget stuff, so all of our money comes into YNAB. It's a software I use to track everything. You guys should track everything and write it all down. Don't just guess. And I'm seeing that her revenue is actually relatively significant. And I was like, hey, you should probably consider doing what we're talking about here. Get a separate bank account, set up an LLC. You should do these things. She's like, yeah, I probably should. Okay, but yeah, you can't tell your family a thing. You have to tell strangers. So I say all that with the knowledge of we're doing pretty good. And no, I can't just go out and buy, like my buddy Cam, he's like, hey, YOLO, you only live once. I'm buying like a 1950s Corvette or something. I don't know what he bought. He bought something really cool and dangerous, but it was fun and he had the money and he's going to go do it. Most everything I've got is tied up in rental property, so I am not very liquid. If somebody needed something, it would take me months to kind of get stuff ready. But we do have income coming off of that. And it's very passive now. I do some videos of like, hey, the the life of a landlord. And it's not very often, but I got to go repair things. And usually it's like repairing things that is just pretty dumb. Like I had 3 garbage disposals that went out. One of them, you just had to press the button on the bottom, the reset button, all good. The other one, press the button and do the crank on the bottom, all good. Another one, actually, it was leaking, so I had to replace it, pretty easy, all good. The last one, so I guess that was 4. The last one, they had dropped a knife sheath into the disposal, and it was just blocking it. So I just reached my hand in there after turning off the breaker and pulled it out, and it all worked. It was totally fine. So most of the time, it's pretty easy. Sometimes it's not, but we try to stay ahead of the game on saving money for it so that when expenses come up, it's not a big deal. Like one of the renters had a pipe pop in the front yard. I don't typically do that stuff because, I don't know, I just feel like water can damage everything. I want to make sure that stuff is done well. So I usually pay someone like Jamal, our old member. He's got a plumbing and HVAC business. I always give business to him, and he takes care of things, and he's super awesome. So that was easy to do, and it just took money. I guess what I want to say in that story is there was a tiny bit of luck where I did my job and the budgets came out in a certain way. Knowing that they would have spent the money eventually anyway, I would have gotten most of that money because my next year, everyone knows in sales, hey, if I had a really banner year, the next year is going to suck. And it did. So yeah, I made less money, but we saved that other money, right? And we paid off our debts. So yes, I think there is a tiny bit of luck that's involved. But most of it is about habits, mindset, and strategy. So our habits are very conservative. And I have a habit of like going through our own financial pieces to like in YNAB, I download everything and categorize it all so I know when something is askew. Our mindset is of future casting. What do I want to leave my children's children? And the strategies are sound strategies that everyone talks about. So I don't do anything crazy. It's not like, oh, you should invest in wheat, right? I don't do that. I buy the normal things. So what you're going to see is Dave Ramsey is going to focus on control and discipline, which we've got. And Robert Kiyosaki is going to focus on mindset and leverage, which we do kind of. So I'm not a huge fan of super risky leverage. So that's the part that I watch out for. Now, I will leverage to get a thing and then work to pay it off. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't do that. So there's a piece where I kind of like go askew. I think it's still a good investment, and my buddy Glenn has used it well. He is similar to me. He's an engineer that got into real estate, and he's doing great for himself, him and his wife, and they do use leverage. Now, I will say as the market right now has been going up and down with tariffs and all that stuff, my Georgia Tech friend group, who's about 50 years old and looking at retirement and looking at their investments, they're like, hey, this is nerve-wracking on my investments. Whereas I don't care because we're pretty set. Like our debts are done, so nothing's holding me back. Like when they look at the amount of money they need to retire, it's usually like, how do I live this life? So the amount of money I want to spend, as well as the money I have to spend because I have debt requirements, and those are pretty low for us. Okay. I'm going to pop through real quick on the websites here. So if you're listening, great. I'm going to explain it. If you're watching, awesome, because you can see what I'm looking at. So Dave Ramsey's got a website. It's called RamseySolutions.com. And if you go there, you can actually go through his course. We had one of the guys from Jubilee Church. Oh, man, I am now blanking on his name, but it's a podcast we've got down below. He actually does this. He'll run you through their debt school. I would recommend everybody do this. I think it's great. Get out of debt. Then there's Robert Kiyosaki. And let's see, my tab won't switch. There we go. His is called richdad.com. So his big thing was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And his is Escape the Rat Race. He's got other great quotes. You can't outsave a lack of income. And he will buy an asset that produces money to then buy the toy he wants. So if he's like, there's a story he's got in there. He wanted a Corvette, and I don't know, the payments were going to be like $300 a month. So he said, hey, what asset can I buy that would produce $400 a month? And they took that and used the asset to buy the toy. So I love that. He buys assets, not toys, or at least he lets his assets pay for the toys. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I would recommend listening to his stuff. It's been great. I've highly enjoyed it. I don't know if he's got like, oh, he does coaching right there. You can get a Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad coach. They don't call it Poor Dad, it's Rich Dad coaching. So the other guy that I've really liked is, oh, this isn't him. This might be his son. Stephen Covey. Yeah, this is not the right Covey. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's his son. Okay, I'll leave it on here. So I did like his book, The Speed of Trust. If you have principles, you can do your business on principles, and you can trust each other because you know the principles. So that was a good book. But his dad, Stephen Covey, wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There it is right here. And, and it was a great book with great principles in there. You guys should go listen to it. I think I actually have even a podcast on that book. It's really good. Okay. So there are some principles you can pull out of this. I'm going to cover some business ideas I said I would, and I'm going to go through some strategies. Again, if you're 50, there's not as much time to do this. If you're 30, great. Some of you guys don't know this. When you turn 50, you enter the drop-dead years. Yes, it's a thing. When you get out of college, so let's call it 22 to like 34, they're the lost years because you just have your head down trying to make money and like raise a family. If you do the standard way, right? Some of you guys play until you're 30, then you buckle down. But man, there is a lost years. And I've got family members who are in that stage. They're like, it just doesn't feel like I can get my head above water. I'm like, I know. And it's going to feel like that for a while. But you will rise to the occasion. And eventually, they're going to move on, your children. Like all my guys are graduating, and 2 of them should be out within a year or 2 making their own money. They've got good internships this summer, so we expect good things. Now we're talking about like, hey, where do you guys want to live and what do you guys want to do? We're doing family compound? You move into Alaska? What is it? It's great to see them on their journey. Okay, this is something that's hard for people to wrap their head around. Earn more money by solving bigger problems. Okay, so let's use the gym as an example. Hey, the problem I'm solving is you guys want to get sweaty. How many people are going to sign up for that? Not many. But if I turn it around and say things like, hey, if you're like me and you're 50 and you notice your friends are having heart attacks, maybe it's you. Probably time to change your life. Okay, so you see the problem there? Heart attack and death versus, I just want to get sweaty. So either create or showcase the bigger problem or find the people that have that bigger problem or go to a place to solve that bigger problem. For example, Timmy wants to pay like $200 a month for his health. Sure. But Bell South wants to pay me, I don't know, like $10,000 to solve this one problem. But that problem is causing them to not earn millions of dollars, right? So solve bigger problems. One way to look at that is finding the things you enjoy and then growing the problem piece on it. For example, I love dogs. Okay, well, what's a problem around dogs? Well, I just want to make money with dogs. Well, okay, that's not it. There's no more problem. I'd like to walk dogs. Okay, well, there's one way. People have poop in their yard and they want to get rid of it and they don't want to pick it up themselves. I will have a poop scooping business. Yeah, that's valid. How can you compound it though? Like both of those take your time. I have to walk them and I have to pick it up. What else could you do? Well, people want to go on vacation and they have animals they love. I could take in animals, and I've got that on here. We're going to talk about rover.com. That's a bigger problem, right? What do I do with my dog when I'm on vacation? Bigger problem, or at least bigger to them, right? So then I offer a doggy hotel. Well, okay. I offer a doggy resort. Oh, that sounds better. What is it? And what does it mean? I pamper your dog. We're going to, when you give them to me, we're going to bathe them. We're going to toenail fix them. Pedicure. Well, they only have feet. So it'd only be a pedicure, right? Manicure? Manicure's fingers? I don't know. I guess that's good. I don't know, right? So if you give your dogs to us, we're going to bathe them, bring the vet in. We're going to schedule their vasectomy. Dogs don't have it. Neuter and spading. We're going to give them their shots. I'm against those, but whatever, right? So you see what I'm saying is you could wrap all this up into, hey, you have a yearly vacation. We have a veterinary, a vet that will come on site and do a thing, but we also have doggy vacation, right? So they get a pool, they get toenails, whatever. So you could build this side offering to the problem that became bigger and bigger. What do I do with my dog when we go on vacation? Bigger problem. Okay. So you could turn that into, like I said, service business or coaching business, or what we're doing right now, content creation. You could just do it once in a while, make it your business, and now expense stuff. At least you're ahead that way. You're saving some money on taxes. You can also help people with skills. Like you could do a teaching class, not just coaching, like one-on-one me and you, but you could put a how to groom your dog, download my one-page document for $1, whatever, right? So you could put a class. I forgot there's a tool that people use to build these classes out because someone said, hey, people don't know how to build online tools. I'll help them with that. And they have a whole tool for you to build online tools. Okay, other ones. So there's another way to look at it is investment skills. Like, what can I do to do that? What can I do to accelerate some of that money? A lot of times it's sales, right? So if you can get into the sales side, if you're earning money for whatever company, then you're going to be paid more because you're making it rain, right? So when we were in the telecom test set world, I would sell, my quota would be something like $2-3 million, maybe $4 million in test set sales. And I was making, like $150,000, right? So if you do that math, it's not even 1%, right? If you drop that down, so $1 million would be 100,000 would be 10%. Oh, I guess 100,000 10%. So it would be something like 4%. So whatever I sold, I was making like 4% of it. Well, where did the rest of the money go? To feed the rest of the company. But without me, the sales guy, the company didn't really exist, right? Because it had to bring sales in. Now, I guess you could say, arguably, if you shut down all the sales and made the company smaller, there would probably be some sales, right? But then somebody would start marketing and selling, and then they would outperform you. And it's just like anything else. What's heard is people want to buy. What do they say? There's no bad marketing. Just make sure you spell my name right. Okay, learn to sell. Marketing, that's a kind of a tougher one because marketing and sales and publicity, right? I don't know. You could learn a thing and get out in public speak. So I think like coaching is a great way to get over the fear of public speaking. And people want other people to show up and talk. So you can get on the public speaking track. Maybe I should do that and see how it goes. Get into leadership. So if you want to move up the chain, see what the chain is doing and start doing what they're doing already. Look at the jobs that are available at the companies you work at and start moving yourself towards those skills that they say that you already need. Most companies don't want to promote from within unless they already know you got the skill set. They're like, we know who you are and we don't think you're really going to fit. We're going to go outside the company to grab someone. Unless you're already doing that work, then it's like a shoe-in, right? So anyway, I would say if you could find a way to sell something, it's a huge way to directly impact your income. Now, on the investment side, obviously you could learn to invest. Man, I would go a hardcore no, don't invest your own money. The emotional problems that go with that and the lack of knowledge you have versus what experts do. If you asked Aaron and Matt, like, how much more do you know about investing than the average person? The gulf is going to be tremendous. It's not like, tiny bit. They do this for a living in and out. You're never going to beat them. They're going to make better, smarter, faster choices than you'll ever make. So I would say find somebody and let them do it. The other way I would say to do it is just find an index fund that goes along with the S&P 500, right? They talk about this all the time. Just do the whole auto investing there. And I think they have said that when you do that, you outperform the market over time. Not the market. You outperform most investors over time, or you do just as good just investing in the S&P 500 or an indexing fund that doesn't have any fees associated with it. So it's an unmanaged fund. I don't do that. I'm not saying you should do that, but it sounds like one of the best advices out there. I just give it to somebody else because I know I'll screw it up. There seems to be this thing in that the 35-year-olds that say, I need multiple streams of income. You don't. Just make your main income really freaking awesome. Do more stuff there. Help that company be better, and they're going to pay you more. And it usually takes more than 5 years to really get noticed, so expect to put some time into it, and that's okay. I would say that if you bounce jobs and it's the same type of position that you're bouncing, that's a problem. You shouldn't do that. I would look at that and say, hey, I don't know, I'm hiring a rental management firm or person to manage my properties. And they're like, I've just been bouncing from company to company and doing the exact same thing. To me, that sounds like a problem person. They haven't moved up and they keep moving. So something's going on, something wrong. I'm not going to hire that person, right? On the flip side, if I see somebody going from, sales to sales manager to account director, and I see them moving up, I'm like, ooh, there's something in them that everybody's seeing. I like the FOMO, fear of missing out. I want them too. So if you want to be promoted inside your own company, you need to have those skill sets that are already there and being developed. You need to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. Actually, Jack Spirko did a great podcast on that. Let me go find it and reference it for you guys. Here we go. It's thesurvivalpodcast.com. The Entrepreneur Mindset for All, episode 3648. It's a great episode. You guys should listen to this. I'm sure I'm restating some of the things he's already said because the mindset goes across all boundaries, right? Okay, moving on. Keep your money, right? So this is some Dave Ramsey strategy and a quote from him. Live like no one else so that later you can live like no one else, right? So be smart with your money. Every dollar counts. Budget it. you need to tell it where it goes and be able to understand, like, man, the thing that it baffles me, there's a software out there that you can download and it'll tell you how many reoccurring expenses you have, like monthly subscriptions, as if you can't easily find that anyway. Just go on your credit card or your bank statements, like go online and look. How could you be that dumb that you don't know? So it's just baffles me that there's a software that'll do that for you, because you can literally just do it. But anyway, you need to know if you're not downloading your money, your expenses and stuff into some sort of software like Mint or YNAB. Let me show you. Let me pull up YNAB. There you go. Here's YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget Now. I actually don't use the budgeting feature, but I want my kids to use it. So I got them into this software ahead of time, so that they can tell money where it should go ahead of time. Anyway, so YNAB or Mint or Intuit or QuickBooks or any of that stuff. You need to be doing this. If you're not, then you're messing up. That would be the first step. It's just like counting calories. If you need to watch your calories and know where they go, because if you give something attention, it's going to get better. Okay, this is a difficult one. Avoid debt if you can. If you need to use debt, I'd say figure a way out of it. Ramsey's big on this one. He says don't use credit cards because I think it said like 80% of the people can't, even though they said I'm just going to pay it off, 80% of people using credit cards can't just pay it off. So we do use credit cards and we do pay them off. I think there's only been once when I skipped a month by accident because I was just dumb, and it was the time when they were like, oh, you don't have to send us a check, you can automate it, and I was trying to get it figured out and I thought I had it set up. So this is back in like, I don't know, 2010. Yes. So if you this is funny. For you younger guys, you used to have to get a statement in the mail, write a check, put it back in the mail, and get it to them and hope it all worked out. That's just what happened. Now you can do it all online. I would highly recommend that stuff. But in the automation, don't forget to look, okay? So I'm not a huge fan of debt. If you're going to use it, make sure you know a way to get out of it. Don't become a slave to it. Another good tip is to have an emergency fund. So before trying to pay off debts, get 3 months of expenses lined up. So if some weird stuff happened, you can live for 3 months. If you got 3 months down, maybe consider going to 6 months. I would do that before trying to nail down your debt. So even the debt snowball guys say, hey, let's get our emergency set up first. Sometimes it's just like $1,000 or whatever. Have some sort of emergency fund. It helps you prevent like the panic of what's going to happen. And the last one is the debt snowball. We've talked about that before, but you take I know it's mathematically it doesn't make sense, but emotionally it does. And apparently your emotions and that winning step will help propel you forward. So find the smallest debt you have, pay it off, and then take that money to start paying off the next smallest one, right? And chunk it away. So it's a snowball rolling downhill, building up steam and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So go for the smallest one first, even though mathematically it doesn't make sense, smallest one first, and then continue to use that money to go somewhere else. It's momentum, not math, okay? All right, so then the next bit is like grow it. Think like an investor. A lot of Robert Kiyosaki stuff. One of his quotes is, the rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. Man, yes, but how do you get there? You have to get the money. This is, man, I know Jamie Thomas said, Andy, you just called us all a bunch of idiots for getting jobs that don't, or anybody that got, or what did I say? If you intentionally got a college degree that put you in a career that didn't pay much, then you're an idiot. I didn't mean to say it like that, but that's apparently what I said. And she's like, Andy. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to say it like that. What I meant to say is something like this. In today's time, you can literally just go ask the internet, hey, which professions, college degrees make the most money? Actually, let me type that in. I think it was all engineering last time. Hold on. Okay, so I typed that in and it said degrees in computer science, engineering, information systems, and management tend to make the most money. That was the AI summary. So here's the highest paying college majors in 2025 with statistics, which is funny because it is 2025. So how would they know that? Should be 2024. So I'm just going to run down the list real quick. Oh, geez. Of course it is. It's computer science, computer engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, physics. Well, that's weird. I wouldn't have thought that. Miscellaneous engineering. Jeez. Before anything else, miscellaneous engineering. I don't know what the hell I want to do. Just some sort of engineering. General engineering, finance, economics, consultative service, and business analytics. I don't even know if you can get a degree in business analytics. That sounds weird. Looking at 2020. Oh, you know what? That was a list from 2023. Okay, that makes more sense. And then what majors make top mid-career salary. Okay, so this is like, hey, later on, what am I making? And it's actually pretty much the same list. It's aerospace engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science. Interesting that it dropped. Finances, economics, miscellaneous engineering, industrial engineering, physics, mathematics. Fascinating. Who knew? International affairs, information systems and management. Again, kind of a computer sciencey thing. And then general engineering. What my joke is, from the Bible, it says that the geek will inherit the earth. Obviously, it doesn't say that, but it's true right here. If you're a nerd or like this, like science and technology, you're bound to make more money. So if you pick something like this, you're probably going to do well as, a background money. Hey, I got some money. The nice part about engineering jobs is typically you work and then you're done. So you put in your 40 hours and that's it, which gives you time to do other stuff. So as a sales guy, I would work 24 hours a day because I was on the road, but I could also do other things. I didn't really do other things, but I could have, right? Anyway, so yes, choose children, youngsters, high school and college kids, choose your major wisely. Put it in there and see, like, hey, what is my major going to make? You have to make money in order to start saving and utilizing money. It all starts with a nice base hit. Choose something. But if you're like, I don't really like any of that stuff, well, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes you do things you don't like to make the money. I have told my daughter, she's like, I think what I want to do is be in the Peace Corps. I think what I want to do is have a farm. I think what I want to do is, and she has all these great ideas working with the earth and helping people that don't pay anything. And I told her, it's like, hey, look, apparently chemical engineering, which is what she's doing, it earns a lot of money. You could save up all that money, make your first $1 million, buy a couple houses that have recurring income, and then say, screw you all. Now I'm going to be a farmer because I don't care how much money I make. I'm making money doing that other stuff. So use this to provide the income, the vehicle to move you forward. The other way to do it is to reduce your expenses dramatically, right? You can get by on spending less. Now, the problem there is if you want to eat well, I guess you could do that too. You could probably volunteer on somebody's farm and they could pay you in a cow, right? So yeah, change the way you think about how to earn and get a hold of that money. All right. So Robert Kiyosaki, one of his big things is the mindset shift. So poor people spend everything, so don't spend everything, right? Mid-class people save and retire at 65. Rich people buy assets that pay you. And that is true. I've seen it in other people in my life, and as I'm moving through the journey of aging, I can see other people doing this, me doing this, and so forth, right? The conversations I have with my Georgia Tech buddies are vastly different than the conversations I have like with when I was coaching or whatever, right? So it depends on the phase of your life. So they're all 50, and the other guys I'm working with were young kids, or not kids, they were adults with young kids, so maybe like 30s or 40s. Okay, another one. Know the difference between an asset and a liability. So this is a big one that Robert Kiyosaki is hounded for. He says your house is a liability. I agree. The house you live in, because a asset generates revenue. Now you could say, well, wait a minute. It allows me to live somewhere and I'd have to pay something anyway. Sure, but so does your car. And no one says, well, my car is an asset. We all know, well, it depreciates, right? And so I'm going to sell it for less. The thing is, your house, you could sell for more. Could. Usually you will. So it's an asset once you sell it, but it's not an asset while you're using it. Anyway, so his thing is know the difference between assets and liabilities. Most of us we're going to buy a bunch of liabilities, and we shouldn't be doing that. A rental unit, obviously, is an asset, right? It's bringing money in. Gym gear is a liability unless it's in my gym and I can use it, right, for making money. Now, I do a thing where when I retire gear, so there's a safety concern, right? I can only use gear for so long at the gym before we've just put it through the paces and I just need to retire it. So usually I'm really good at fixing stuff. I'm an engineer. I like to fix things. So most of the rowers I kept up for, I don't know, like 15 years. And then we decided to buy a whole bunch new rowers. I was convinced it was a good idea, so we bought new rowers, and I forgot how smooth new rowers are. But we kept the other ones for like 15 years. We bought the bikes from Rogue, so the Echo bike, and I maintain those. I would make sure everything's tightened, just do the things that I should do to keep it around. So when those things do fail, I'm like, yeah, I can't really use it at the gym, but they're not like entirely broken. I'll just bring them home or give them away. So there's a lot of plates in the back that have the holes kind of like knocked out. So they're like the little metal insert is not as stuck as it should be. Yeah, you can still use it. It's just not great for being bounced around all over the gym. So someone could take those home and use them totally fine, right? So being able to take gear to retire them into your own place, that's kind of cool too, right? So if you had a business, I don't know, let's say your business was reloading ammo, and then like, I don't know, maybe you sell it on, hey, I like to shoot as well. Bring me 200 casings and all the other stuff. I'll do the work and I'm going to keep half of it, right? So they want 100, they bring 200 things and you do it that way, right? Now, that's a barter system, and I guess in the grayscale of work, like, is it your business? I don't know. You got to charge something and show money for it to be a business or show income. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, this is a big one. So cash flow. Actually, Kiyosaki's got a game called Cash Flow. It's an expensive game that teaches a valuable lesson, but I think you could just say, hey, you need cash flow, and that's good enough. So rent income that reoccurs is now a cash flow, right? Memberships up at the gym, hey, there's a cash flow. But I also have expenses. You need to figure that out. Like I have known guys to buy rental properties, and they're like making like negative $10 a month. And they're like, yeah, I know, but rents do move up. So like it'll move up over time, but they're paying somebody to live in their house until it passes that point, which I've done in the gym. There are times when during the 2 weeks to shut the world down, right? Or to flatten the curve or whatever it was. And other times I have put money into the gym to keep it afloat, which technically means even though you're paying membership, I am paying you to pay the membership, right? So it's a bad deal. So that cash flow is like down. So you need to really watch those numbers, which is why I say, hey, put it in a thing and eyeball it like it's a business, even your home money, right? I kind of already mentioned this, but the tax advantages and strategies versus a W-2 employee and a 1099 contractor. So understand what's going on there. We kind of talked about that at the beginning. There is an advantage to being a business owner, but I'll tell you, like in the gym, I own the business. I'm the only one in the gym that's working that doesn't make any money. So I pay the coaches because that's the right thing to do. And I don't pay myself because the cash flow would be off. If I paid myself, I'd then have to put money back in to the gym. So then I'd have to pay myself back. I bet you there's probably a reason I should pay myself and then take a loan out from me, but whatever. That's just too complicated for me. So I don't. We're moving back up and to the right, but the rent, the doubling of the rent really screwed us over. But we're coming out of that. It's okay. And also, we've had the same membership fee since August 2022. So that's almost 3 years now that we haven't changed our rates, and that's fine. So we'll fix it by bringing more people in. We'll cap it out at about 150 people, and everything will be right as rain. It's just the expenses are never what you think they are. Make sure if you're going to buy a business, which I've got some stuff coming up, you actually look at their numbers and compare it. Most individuals are going to lie to you because they were lying to themselves, and maybe they don't mean to, or maybe they do, so watch out. There are some tax advantages for a business owner. It's not so like, oh, you own a business, there's a tax advantage. It's just that you get to move some things. For example, I took my wife to Castle Uherberg in Dahlonega, and technically I could write that off because I do a thing for D&D in a castle, and it's part of my personal personal brand. And so I could say, well, let me write that off because I was there at the castle, but I wasn't. I was there on an anniversary, so I'm totally not going to do that. If I'm going to follow the rules, I want to be on the side of conservative because I don't want them coming after me. I don't want to spend time in Club Fed for something stupid and just, a vacation, which the bed and breakfast castle thing was pretty cool, and it was relatively cheap considering what it was. Yeah, so my last bullet point there in the tax strategy is don't cheat. Hire a good accountant, lawyer, CPA, whatever, but don't put yourself in jail. If you're in jail, you can't earn money. Okay, so another good book to read is The Millionaire Next Door, and he just talks about the commonalities between people who become millionaires and what do they do. Dave Ramsey had a little podcast episode, and he said, people that become millionaires by the age, I think it was 40, the typical thing that they all have in common is they paid off their debts and they invest in their 401k. Typically what a company does is they say, hey, if you invest with us, then we'll invest with you. So they'll say like you can put up to 5% of your salary into a 401k that will match. So if you put in let's say, I don't know, let's make the numbers easier. You're earning $100,000 and they say we'll match up to 10%. So you put $10,000 in, they just put $10,000 in your name. Now, typically what they say is that's not really your money unless it's vested over time. So you need to spend like 5 years to get that money from 5 years ago. So is there a way to sort of hook you in with a like retroactive bonus or whatever? But it's also free money. So if you hate free money, don't do that. But you should totally do that. As I mentioned before, one of the cool tips or habits are using automation. So I get stuff paid off, and then I look all the time. And I've made it a habit to view our expenses every day, so it never gets out of control, because doing it month to month is tough. So every day is easy. And I've got automation set up so things get paid without me having to really go in and remember to do it. But I see it, so I'm accountable to it, right? You should be tracking your monthly net, your worth, your net worth monthly. So it could be your own finances or your investment finances. If you have an investment person, then they should be doing that for you, right? You should also have conversations with your kids. If you don't feel like you can have the conversation, get Aaron or Matt and say, hey, can you help me talk to my kids about this, right? You need to talk to them about something. In one of my, in the Georgia Tech group, we were talking about the tariffs and things, and I went up to go see Evan. There was a fraternity, BYX, had a come shoot with your dad. So we did sporting clays, and it was an hour drive. So we got in the car and we were driving, and I was like, hey, what do you think about? And we talked about these things. And then I texted back to the group, hey, this is what Evan said. One of my buddies, his first comment back wasn't, he's an idiot. It was, wow, I'm impressed that you talk about this stuff with your kids. So don't talk about money all the time. I don't want them to grow up and be like, I don't know how money works. They need to know that. Don't put a handicap on your kid by not talking about these things, right? Talk to them. Okay, so let me wrap this up, and then I'm going to go through a couple, not slides, but websites. But pick one of these things and make it happen. Pick the one that you don't do or that feels right and start there. You don't have to do everything all the time. Just pick a thing and make a step. A journey doesn't start with one step. It starts with the second and third step, because now you're committed to the destination. So start taking those steps. All right. So Zillow, you can go in here and buy a house. You can rent a house. The nice thing about rental property that they don't tell you is rent always goes up. So let's look here in Athens. Actually, you know what? Let me not do Athens, because Athens is where I was looking for my kids, because Evan needed 30188. That's our zip code. 30188. Good, I got it. There is Woodstock. Let us go into, let's do this. This neighborhood right here is a Pulte neighborhood that was built in the year 2000-ish. And I know these 3 roads are 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths. So, damn, look at this guy right here. This one, which house is that? Okay, this is a cul-de-sac lot, and it's a larger house. I know this area pretty well. But look at these rents. Oh, man, look at this guy right here, $2,800. So this guy is renting, I wonder if it's paved with gold. So cul-de-sac lot, we'll go for a little bit more. Let me just click on this bad boy. $2,800 a month for just under 2,000 square feet. It's 3-bedroom, 3 baths. I was curious, it's probably 2.5 bath. But this is the thing that everyone forgets to tell you when you get into the rental market is I've got houses in this neighborhood, and when I started renting there, I think it was $1,000 a month. So $1,000 a month, now it's gone up, what is that, almost tripled in 20-ish years? Man, that's not a bad investment, right? So rental property, investment money, yes, and the money's recurring. So if you had a mortgage on this, let's say you were paying, I don't know, $1,200 a month on a mortgage, and you could rent it out for $1,200. Yeah, you're losing money because there's other stuff going on. But if you can see right here, in 25 years, I've probably almost paid that mortgage off, and now the rent's $2,800. Yes, taxes go up, and yes, the HOA has gone up, but the big piece, your mortgage, hasn't. So that's why the guy, what was his name? My first buddy that was a real estate agent as well as landlord, he said, yeah, I'll buy a house and be $100 under because I know next year I'm going to get above that mark. If it was a good deal for him, right? So I'm like, if it's a good deal, you should be above the mark. But anyway, that's what he did. So Zillow's a good one. You can see the rents. You can check. I mean, it's just crazy. You can zoom into anything, and they're going to tell you, this is what they're, it's remove boundaries. Yeah. So let me zoom this out. There is a castle over here. Let me see if I can find it. Some guy turned his house into a castle. Let's see. It should be right here. Right here. This it? Nope, but it's right around this area. Crabapple. I just wanted to show you that you could like zoom in. Oh, there it is right there. You can zoom into anybody's stuff, right? So it's got a for rent. I'm looking in the rent. It's not for rent. But if you can see this, it's pretty cool. He's got a moat around a house. The house really isn't that big. But if you click on it and go for details, oh, look, it changed it. It used to say it was like 6,000 square feet. But so anyway, you can find details about anyone, anywhere. It's just, I love Zillow. Another good tool is loopnet.com. So you can look for businesses for sale. You can look for property. I mean, anything that's, if it's commercial, it can be for sale on here. So let's see, I've got leases. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's do for sale. So for sale in this area. So there's some opportunities to buy something. What is this guy right here? So here's a plot of land over here in Woodstock. Here's a building. Oh, I know that building. Damn, $1 million for that. Okay, let's look for businesses. How would I do that? I forgot how to do it. Let me pause you and figure that out. Oh, duh, it's right there. Search for businesses for sale. Okay, so I'm going to change it from properties to businesses, and I'm going to put in 30188 again. So we're looking in the Woodstock area. Sometimes these businesses are not really like for real businesses. It's like you could just do this on your own. So I don't know why. Oh, no matches found. How about this? Let's just do Cherokee County, Georgia. Boom. Okay. So businesses for sale. Again, sometimes it's just like a multi-level marketing business. It's not a real business. Sorry, that is a real business. But I mean, it's not like you're buying Ancient Awakenings down the street. Or, oh, actually, here's a kickboxing gym in Cherokee County. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it's got boxing, Thai boxing, kickboxing, and a CrossFit gym in Cherokee County. Fascinating. I probably know who this is. Let us click on that and see. Now I'm becoming nosy. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm not interested in buying another gym, but it is neat to see their stuff. So he has an asking price of $200,000. And he says his gross revenue is $90,000. So this doesn't really tell me anything. If his gross revenue is $90,000, I'm like, let me look at his rent is $2,300 a month. So let's pull up a calculator. So rent, $2,300 a month, and then you're gonna have to add in CAM and all this other stuff they never tell you about, right? So times 12. So that's $27,000 plus he's probably going to pay, he's going to have insurance, which is about $2,000. There's going to be a CAM fee, which will probably be for him. I'd see the area, it looks pretty nice. Probably going to be somewhere in the nature of $5,000, especially when you throw in some taxes. So that was 2 and 5 is 7. So we're going to add 7,000. So yeah, he's already at 34,000, and that's just easy stuff off the top of my head. You start adding in a whole bunch of other things, insurance, and then repairs and all that. It's going to boost it easily by another 5,000. So let's just say it's 40,000. So to run the business, expense-wise, it's just 40,000. He says he's pulling in 90. So he's not even paying his coaches yet. So what is that going to cost? If he does calculator, let's say he's got a class system, I don't know. Let's say he's got, let's go easy. Let's say 3 classes in the morning and 3 classes in the evening. So he's got 6 classes times 5 days a week because he's not open on the weekends. And so that's 30 classes a week times, let's say he's doing the standard $20 for a coach. So $600 a week times 50 weeks because he's not open during Christmas. So that's 30,000 right there. So that's 30 and 40, 70. So there's $20,000 left over. So maybe that makes you $20,000 a year. That's interesting because that doesn't gross revenue. Yeah, I don't know if that works. His FF&E is 25,000. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to Google this guy and see who it is. Well-established 25-year-old business. I should know who that is, and I don't know who this is. That's weird. Anyway, so you can go on to, I guess I've missed my whole point, but you saw some business analysis right there. I can look at this and say, nah, I don't know. This one doesn't really work for me. He's going to have to spend a lot of time there. So he's retiring at 69, so he's trying to get out of the business. Hey, nice age there, buddy. He wants to go travel. Now, I do this without pay because as one of my good buddies, Greg Swings, I just reconnected with him from high school. So he's a good buddy from high school, and we're reconnecting. I love it. Awesome dude. He said, Andy, as you retire, the thing that is valued the most is your health. So like the value is health, not how much money do you have, how are things going. It's like, are you going to make it? I'm like, yeah, you're right. When we turn 50, we enter the drop dead years. So it's interesting. I do value health a lot, and I didn't really think about it as the commodity, the I don't know, the money of the older guys is going to be this health. Okay. So let's go back and look at some other businesses. What else is for sale in the, let's see, we got a burger joint, Thai boxing, established cash flow, nail salon. I just could never sit in a nail salon for that long to want to run the business. That just smells so bad. A vape shop? No, I can't even support that. Let's see, downtown Woodstock restaurant. Oh, that could be interesting. So here, let's look at a restaurant. It's just fascinating, the different numbers that go on here. So we got a downtown Woodstock restaurant for sale. It's an interesting thing. They don't really say like what, like why, or what it is. Like, I don't think they tell you. It's a bar, so that's going to help. It's a restaurant and bar. Downtown Woodstock for sale. It's on Main Street, so it narrows it down, right? So $3 million opening cost, 200 seats with a deck. Man, this sounds like, can't be Rootstock because it's 200 seats. It's probably, what's the one? Pure? It's probably Pure. 200 seats with a big deck. Yeah. Okay. So, seller spent $3 million to open doors. So he's just trying to tug on you to say, you should give me some money. That doesn't matter. He's an idiot if he spent money that he shouldn't have spent. Don't worry about that. Never look at that. Who gives a crap, right? Gross revenue. Now, this is good. He did his gross sales. So you have to understand, this is before taxes. That is nearly $2 million. Not just taxes, but all the expenses. So, but what did it cost to run the business? So he said net profit to an absentee owner. Oh, this is actually nice. So he tells you, hey, I made $150,000 and I didn't really do anything. Absentee owner is cool. So this is you're buying a business. The other one, you were buying a job. If you have a CrossFit gym, you're buying a job. You have to do a lot of stuff. You can't go absentee. I tried that and the landlord changed the game in one fell swoop, right? So this is pretty interesting. He's making 150 and the business is doing about 2 million. So I like this. So it's nearly 6,000 square feet. Long-term lease, man, $16,000 a month just in the lease. That is nuts. Okay, so typically what they do is, let me pull up the calculator. It's 3 times their the owner benefit. So the owner says I'm making 150,000 times 3. Oops, I did times 4. Let me do times 3. It's be 450,000. The guy's asking nearly 800,000. So he's got a times 6 multiplier on this thing. Yeah, I don't know. So it would take you 6 years to make your money back if you didn't change anything and nothing messed up. That's not normally what it is. Usually it's a times 3 unless you have some other things in place, then you can have bigger multipliers. But usually it's a times 3. So he's probably overpricing this guy. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at another one. And the thing you're like, well, Andy, I don't have $700,000 to even pay him. Yeah, you can take out a loan for that. So then you would put that into the cost of, all right, I took a loan, but I'm getting $150,000 back. Could I pay down that loan? 6 years, right? Whatever it is. Let's look at another one in here. So the restaurant was a good one. Boba tea is for sale. Boba tea store for sale in Woodstock. My kids go to that all the time. Oh, interesting. So they're another restaurant, basically. He's asking 130. His cash flow is 66,000. So disguising words, which your cash flow. It can't be your revenue that doesn't work. His rent's $2,000 a month. That doesn't even make sense because Boba Tea's got a pretty damn big, that's not right. It can't be the same one I'm thinking of because they've got a pretty big unit and right in downtown Woodstock. I bet you their lease is about to, that they probably got good terms on their lease. And so that's what's messing them up. And I don't have time to read through it. Well, I guess I could pause you and I have all the time in the world. Anyway, this is stuff you need to look through. There's their gross revenue. 215,000 with cash flow. Yeah, I don't know. Those numbers don't look quite right. So you should always dive into the numbers and hire somebody to be on your side because you aren't going to know everything. But I do like, if you find the right words, absentee owner, man, that's beautiful. You should still check the numbers because people will sometimes steal from you. That's a big thing in these things. If you aren't looking at the books, then somebody's taking your money. This is a good one. Absentee owner, new equipment, high volume laundromat. So the question then becomes, well, why would you sell this, right? Did they even put it in there? Nah. So 24-hour coin laundry. This could be, I've looked at some of these before. It can be a pretty good business there. Let me read this for you. Okay. So this is actually absentee owner, new equipment, high volume laundromat. I'm curious why they're selling it. Maybe his business is build these up and sell them, and that's his business. Like, I don't want to make. I'm into reoccurring revenue in over time. This guy's like, hey, let me build it up and get out of it, and I can sell it for more if it's all set up and packaged nicely, and that's his gig, right? Could be. If you run the calculator on this again, and you're like, hey, his cash flow, gross. So this is a little bit different. So he's saying his, it's like, that's still going to be times 5, I think. 117 times 5. Yeah, so he's got like a 4.5 multiplier, which is better. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I actually might call this guy. I'm going to leave it up. I'll let you know what happens. But, okay, next thing. You could do a thing like your house. I mentioned it, rover.com. There's all these services out there. What do you need and what do you use? And can you turn that around on yourself? This is beautiful. Like, I want to, let's see. I want to find a place to board near Woodstock. Yeah, I'm going to boredom, doggy daycare, walking my dog. Oh, wow, they have so many things on here. Let's say I've got a large dog and I want to board. And, okay, I had to put in the drop-off days. Let's say it's for next month for a week. Okay, we'll put that in there. It'll show you who's available. Yeah, this is awesome. Like, these guys are making 40, 50 bucks a night. Let me just go to the middle of the screen. What about this number 2? Who is this? Alaya? I can't say your name, sorry. She's in Woodstock. Yeah, let's click on this and see what she's paying. It's 45 bucks a night. What do we get? Oh, man, this is money. Man, you are smart. So she has 14 years as a vet tech, and she still works in the same office. So you're not only getting someone that loves animals, she's actually a veterinarian or a tech, right? So, yeah, she could probably have, like, offer more services. So what is she got? Boarding, she got a drop-in, she has doggy daycare, house sitting while you're away. Man, that would be awesome. That's actually an interesting one. I'll take care of your dogs while you're gone. What else does she have on here? She's got some reviews. Recent reviews. Home. Has a fenced yard. Doesn't smoke. She's got some kids. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, she's got tons of photos too. Well done. Her with cats and smiling at the job, showing that she actually does it. Man, that's good marketing right there. You did really well. So this is pretty good. I'm going to heart this site anyway, just to tell her, hey, now I got to sign in. But anyway, jobs like this or businesses like this. I kind of talked to you a little bit about CrossFit. They have a whole thing where you can jump on their website and walk through like, hey, what would it take? I'm going to tell you it takes about $40,000 in gear, and then you got to secure a space to work out of about 3,000 square feet. And that's all it takes. And then time. And you got to find the right people. It's hard to find people that'll do a good job. I would hire for fun, personal people first, and then teach them the rest. Because I've had people that were very technical, but not easy to get along with, and that doesn't work well. Another thing that, of course, I have done is get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin was up to like 100,000. Now it's down to 76. So some of you said, oh, well, it's too late now. Well, now it's dropped. Buy it now. I don't know. I would say buy it forever. I buy a little bit every week. One of my, Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast, he buys $5 of Bitcoin every day. I think that's awesome. And you can do that. Other thing I mention is VincentPlanning.com. So Vincent Financial, I would talk to those guys. Another way that you can earn money back is homestead. So I've got chickens. I eat a lot of eggs. Technically, my eggs aren't free. They're really expensive because the coyotes keep hammering us. I'm almost figured out how to make it work, but it did require me getting a big dog, so now I got to pay for a dog. Of course, I love Ollie, but it's just another thing. But I can expense the food that I give the chickens, because I do throw out stuff just to keep them like, hey, remember, this is home, come back. And other things that I do, I can expense that because it's part of my lifestyle. So I am a fit and healthy guy. Part of it is eating healthy. Part of that is, hey, do a homesteading thing. Have your own, raise your own food. I'm not a great gardener. I'd still do it. I just scatter some seeds and cover them, and then I'm like, I hope it works. But that's one way to do that, okay? I think that was it for those. Okay, so this, an hour pot, isn't that crazy? I thought, this will be like a 10-minute show, and here it is, an hour. Here's what I want you guys to know. If you're 50, it's not over. You can do this thing. If you're young, you can get started now, and it's usually attitude. Yes, you have to work. I know you're thinking, wait a minute, I got to work from 8 to 5? Yes, that's what happens. They exchange your time for money. use your brain, not just your hands. If you go into something like welding, then it's also your hands, not just your brain. It's a time. So it's harder to adjust for that, although welding pays really good right now. You could go into something like plumbing. That's a great market because not many people want to do it and they don't know how to do it. If you watch YouTube, you can figure things out. But if you show up and be early and treat people with respect and charge a fair price, man, you can make a killing at this being a one-man show. The problem with being a one-man show is now you have to do everything on your own. I personally think it's better to just partner with somebody and be like, I will be one of your guys to do the thing. That way, they take care of all the other headaches and you're paying them to do that. Just call it a cut, whatever, take it. And then you just get to work the job and do your thing. I think that'd be better, but it's not in the place I'm in right now. And then you work to build your own or become a bigger part of it or become more efficient as you put on your big boy pants, right? Okay, guys, it's not terribly tough. 1, track your stuff. Use something like YNAB. 2, find ways that are already there to build up your income. 3, do things that you need and create a higher value to it. Solve a bigger problem. And then 4 is just take a step every day. It's not that difficult. Guys, I am not a financial planner. I probably would say don't listen to me at all. Just do your own thing. But these are things that have worked well for me. I like Robert Kiyosaki. I like Dave Ramsey. And I really like Stephen Covey. Those are good guys. I like the advice from the Bible, which is, hey, stay out of debt. Don't be a slave to somebody else, right? But you do you. The biggest thing is control your spending and watch for it. Y'all take care.